right, ladies and gentlemen, now joining us on the 182 News YouTube page, YouTube exclusive here, Mr. Allan Corona, the bass making extraordinaire. Allan, what's happening?
Hey, Ryan, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing great, dude. And I was thinking about this the other day. I was doing a little nerdy research on Mark's basses, and I was looking at pictures and different sticker placements throughout the years. And I was thinking to myself, you know what? I don't even know what my favorite bass is of Mark's. And I definitely don't know a top 5, maybe even a top 3. And I wanted to kind of come up with my own little countdown here. And I thought about doing it myself. And then I was thinking, you know what? You know whose opinion I would really value on this? Yourself, Mr. Allan Corona. He's made a bass for Mark. He has made some insane replicas of bass guitars. Very few people on the planet know as much about Mark's basses as you do. So I hit you up, and I appreciate you jumping on such short notice.
Of course, man. It's always a pleasure to be part of the podcast. And, you know, what's better than just talking about Blink gear and specifically Mark's gear? So let's jump into it.
Totally, dude. We're going to do it. So we are going to count down number 5 through number 1. And I will preface this by saying this is just our opinion. We would love to hear your top 5 below. Drop them in the comments. For me, a lot of it is tied in with the history or just how rad they look. Really doesn't have much to do with how they play or the gear or anything like that. So I think I'm going to start us off with some honorable mentions because I don't know how tough it was for you, but for me, it was really tough with kind of that 3 through 7 slot. So just to mention a couple that were close so I don't get yelled at too much, I'm going to start with Terminal Radness. So Terminal Radness, he's been on the podcast. It's named after the artist who made it. I think that one is super sick. I love that one. Another one that was really tough for me is Relic. I love the story behind it with that old school anime sticker given to Mark by a fan. And then the last honorable mention for me is Petey. And that's one that, I mean, I've held that guitar, like Enema of the State. A lot of that was recorded with that. Really rad history on that one. Those were mine that were very, very close to making my list. Do you have any you want to bring up?
Yeah, in fact, it was also hard for me to pick just 5. I have 3 as well. I think the first one I'm going to mention, and I'm going to get a lot of haters right now. Dude, like people are going to hate me right now. Scully is not on my top 5. Sorry, guys.
Ooh.
I know. I know it's the first bass that became mainstream in, you know, MTV and everywhere. That was a, you know, hot pink bass that no one else was able to get, especially the skull inlays and everything. But I think over the last years, it just became like so. It's like one of those songs that you just listen and listen and listen until it just grows over on you, and you're like, okay, like for instance, All the Small Things. It's the one song that I can skip out of the record. Same thing, I Miss You. I don't dislike it, but it's one of those that if I listen to it, fine. If I don't listen to it, fine again. But yeah, Scully is rad. Don't get me wrong, I really like it. The Scully inlay is just amazing, but it's not on my top 5. My second one, the second honorable mention would be Crayola, and it didn't make the cut. Sorry, I love that bass. I love the artwork. It's been more than a year and I haven't been able to finish my own replica. It's so hard. But it's one of my favorites as well, but sadly didn't make the cut.
Interesting. Okay.
And I think my third one would be Lettuce. It's really iconic. It's alongside with Scully. One of those that became from a prototype, started as a prototype, sorry. And just ended up going through a lot of stages, got the new pick guard, got the new, you know, modifications done by the custom shop. So yeah, Lettuce is rad. Not only that, they recorded some of the best albums with that bass, but again, didn't make the cut.
Man, okay. Well, I think some of the ones you just mentioned might come up a little bit later in this little episode here. So,
oh no!
Without further ado, man, let's jump in. Top 5. I'll let you do the honors, leading us off. What's coming in at number 5 for you?
Okay, so my number 5 bass. It was tough placing it in the 5th position, but it's the Adam Songs Candy Apple fish inlay, as everyone knows him. This guy right here.
Yeah.
Those fish inlays. I love this bass. It's just so iconic, especially after you saw it on Adam Songs and then a lot of shows that you can still find on YouTube. the way it just sounded, the way it looked, there's something about metallic colors that I really like, and the fact that it was also one of the prototypes. You know, the metal plate, and then nowadays it has a full pick guard, but Mark doesn't play it anymore. Yeah, it's one of those basses that really defined an era. For me, the first bass that I was about to buy, it was also Candy Apple Red. But as soon as I noticed that it wasn't, the same specs as Mark, I was like, nope, I'm not gonna get it. But I love the color though.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that one hit your list. It's crazy because nowadays there's so much art on these, and they're literally like beautiful art pieces. But, early on when he started getting his signature basses in late 90s and such, they're pretty plain, but they're iconic just like that. Yeah. So that's rad. At number 5 for me, I think this one might surprise people a little bit. I have the Black Music Man, we call it. It's his Ernie Ball Stingray bass. And the reasoning behind it for me is from late 1994 through 97, essentially. I mean, this was the go-to bass. Every single show Mark was playing with this. It's really the equivalent of the Sticker Strat to me on Mark's side. So those two, Sticker Strat and Black Music Man, those were the axes. If you saw Blink during those years, that's what they were playing. So because of how long he played that and the amount of shows he played with that, and really Blink coming into their own and really just gaining so much momentum, the history there just sells me on it. So at number 5, I've got the Black Music Man. Let's get to number 4. What do you got at number 4?
Should I show it to you? I have it back here.
You're
gonna have to pick one of these 4 basses. Which one do you think is my 4th?
Oh my gosh. It's not Jazz. Jazz is cool, but I don't see Jazz making any top 20 lists to me.
Exactly. Not even for Mark, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I would say out of those, my personal favorite up there is the Burrito Breath, the Stone Fruit one.
Yes. Stone Fruit is my... Yes, correct. It's my 4th favorite. Not only because of the rad stickers, because everyone knows that in Mark's bass, Burrito Breath actually used stickers. It's not painted. It's just a lot of stickers. And this guy was kind enough to send me one of them that he didn't use. He didn't find he couldn't find any more room in the base for him to put that sticker, and he and I became really good friends. We started talking on Instagram, and he's such a rad guy, a great guy. He's super down to earth. You can reach out to him, and he'll be telling you stories behind the whole art and everything. And when I asked him permission to make this base, he was like, "Dude, like I got something for you. Just give me your address," and he sent that over. I was like, "Dude, mind blown." That's why this banana sticker is just going to be framed in my wall forever.
Oh, man.
But yeah, it's my 4th. And I think it could have gone up to 3rd or 2nd, but no, I got better basses coming up.
Oh, my gosh. See, now, as rad as that guitar is, I mean, we just saw the debut of it on the last tour. So I'm kind of surprised for you to say that's likely it could have been number 3. Man, you must love that.
Yeah. I really like it, especially you saw it live as well.
Yeah,
you saw how many songs Mark played with it. It means that he really liked the bass, along with Thumbs. But if you count all the songs that he did per set with each bass, Burrito Breath, the Stone Fruit just knocks down all of the other basses.
Do you know the stickers on that? Do you know if each one of those little fruits or whatever, were those made specifically for this bass? Like, did he design those from scratch, or was that art he had and just slapped on?
He did design them just for the bass. I was surprised that he didn't actually paint it, but I think he wanted to be just as accurate as the actual illustration as possible. So that's why he had everything custom made as a sticker. And even the art in the back, what says "Keep on Blinking," that's also a massive sticker as well, with the made for Mark with Love, Burrito Breath. That was also a sticker that he had made. So I gotta give it to him. Like, if you look at the sticker up close, I'll send you a photo so you can just share it on the video. The detail on it is so impressive. You on the banana, you have 3 different shades of yellow, plus the eyes are not white. They're actually like an ivorish color, so you can tell that the banana is super stoned. So yeah, it's so rad, and that's why I love this bass. It has so many details that they wouldn't go unnoticed unless you see the actual sticker up close.
You just showed the back, and I love that Reaper because that's obviously a nod to Mark's Reaper tattoo that he
Precisely.
has, which is awesome.
Yeah, exactly. And we all we all the fans, we know what this means. So that's another reason why it's on my top 5. This one has a lot of sentimental value for Mark, and I share that. I know that you share that as well. So it really means a lot having that Reaper in the bag as well.
And the more you show that to me, the more it's like rising up my list a little bit. I don't know if it would crack top 5 still, but that's a rad base, no doubt. Number 4 for me, this is one you mentioned earlier, and I thought for sure you would have this on your top 5, but it's Crayola. So this is made by insanely talented artist Greg Simpkins. This was a gift to Mark from Robert, who, you and I have talked a ton about, former bass tech who tragically passed away far too soon. To me, this is one that has yet to be replicated. I know at one point you weren't even going to try it. I think you tried it. Is it just too hard at this point?
It's incredible. The amount of detail on Greg's artwork is just, dude, like, I hate that bass so much that as soon as I finish it, I'm just going to hang it. I'm never going to touch it. I'm not even going to record any cover with it. I'm going to be so mad if anything happens to it. I'm going to be like, just slide it down the stairs.
It's absolutely stunning. And to me, again, with the history, I mean, this is the California Deluxe bass. And I had a ton of rad times during that era, tons of shows. I saw Mark playing with this. So to me, there's some sentimental value in there for sure, and just rad memories on my side. So I've got that one at number 4. What do you got at number 3?
Number 3, this is going to be a really biased decision, but yeah, Gin is number 3.
It better be.
Yeah, I thought it would have been a little bit cocky for me to put it number 1 or number 2, but to be honest, my first 2 bases, they hold even more, an even deeper sentimental value for me. But Gin had to make the cut, not only because I made it. I made it based or using the art that David shared with me, but also because it kind of encases all what happened throughout the pandemic. Like, he was playing a lot with you, Ghost of Tsushima, Animal Crossing, and just being able to incorporate all those elements that he really likes and he really enjoys. It was such a fun experience making that bass, and it actually didn't hit me until I saw it at Coachella that I was like, oh shit, I made that bass, and now it's being streamed worldwide. And you know me, I'm not a really ego boost person. I take as little credit as I can, but when I saw that, funny enough, was on my birthday, and Melissa, my wife, was crying while I was recording the TV. She couldn't notice that I was also crying. I was like, dude, like, this is happening. This is really happening. And then the record came out, and Mark shared on Discord that most of it was recorded with Jane. I was like, I can die happily right now.
It's mind blowing, dude. It honestly, it trips me out too. And yeah, I mentioned that on the podcast when Mark walks out, and he grabs Jen, he's playing a song with it, and it was your birthday. I was like, you can't make this shit up.
Nope.
Just so rad. I mean, honestly, this is coming up for me. I won't spoil it yet, but this is up here for me too because of the same reasons, dude. Like, to me, it's really a genuine community piece. Tons of rad Easter eggs on there, and then knowing the love and fan love from you and David Salis, who designed it, the amount that you poured into it, and then to surprise Mark with it, and then for him to actually like it and want to tour with it, and how amazing the new album is. I mean, dude, what the hell? It's crazy.
One of the things that I actually told David, and he never got to put any Easter egg about it, I wanted the bass to be called the Discord bass. I wanted to bring a little bit of everything, a little bit of everyone, like a little bit of Liz, a little bit of Tiny, but David actually just thrashed my idea. He came up with something better. And I'm not saying I cannot make another one later on down the road for him, but yeah, I'm stoked the way it turned out, and I'm stoked that he likes it. I don't know if Jane is going to see the tour, the road again ever, because, Mark, once he chooses the bass to be the studio bass, he doesn't want it to be out there anymore. So I wouldn't be bummed if it becomes a new studio bass, but at the same time, I wish it would have gone, to the rest of the world. But I know, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. And for anybody who wants to know the history of that, I mean, you and David came on the pod. This was 2 or 3 years ago. I think that episode's called Mark's New Base. So you can get all the
Yeah,
details about the Easter eggs. Go back and listen to that. That maybe
go
I'll
check
link
it
it
out.
below. I probably need to re-listen to it just to have some reminder of those times. Because yeah, it was crazy, dude. It was a pandemic and everybody was locked at home, and somehow we kind of made the best of it, which is weird.
Yeah.
Okay, number three for me. I got another one you left out. Scully. I
Ah,
had to put Scully on there, dude. To me, it's iconic. It was in the Rock Show video, the Feeling This video. I mean, used very heavily on tour 2001 through 2006. We saw it in Plus 44 a little bit. And then
mhm.
to see it out on tour again this last go around, again, another fan kind of community piece to build it back together. He had stickers sent from fans, restickered it. It got cleaned up, back on tour. I think that's really rad. And honestly, I don't know if it would have made my top five if he didn't bring it back out on tour this last go around, but I thought that was super
Right.
sick. I've got it at number three.
Yeah, I don't know if you got a chance to see it up close, but Brian Diaz was kind enough to show it to us. I was hanging out with the guys from Gear 182. I was hanging out with Stefan, Brian, Armando Flores, who's also like a big Blink connoisseur, really good friends with Jeff Pereira, and David Sully, big oldie ape. And
Mm,
Brian brought up Scully, and he showed it to us. And dude, the condition of that bass is just. I think that's one of the main things why I didn't put it in the top five, because I think it just needs to rest. It just needs to go home and
yeah.
lay there forever. And even when we asked Mark if he was thinking about refretting the whole neck, he said no. This bass, this is the last tour that this bass is gonna see the day of light, and then it's gonna be kept on storage forever. So I'm glad that he brought it out, but yeah, the condition is just really deplorable.
I think so too. I saw it up close. I held it, which is crazy. So I've
Mhm.
got a picture somewhere holding it, which is insane. But I looked at it up close. I'm like, man, this thing's beat to hell. It
Yep.
really is. And even when Mark talked about taking it out on tour, I was like, man, that thing deserves to be at the Punk Rock Museum, dude. Like, I don't know if I'm very much like preserving the history. So if you get into refretting or refinishing and all this stuff, I'm of the opinion I'm like, don't touch it. Hang it up. That
Yeah.
thing's iconic. Hang it up and let somebody for future generations walk by and be like, oh my gosh, look how rad that is. Now I know that's a pretty minor opinion. A lot of people are like, rock and roll, play that puppy till it's dead, keep
No.
playing it. It's a guitar, you're supposed to. But I thought it was cool to get the other go around, and I'm honestly kind of happy it's getting retired as is, because I don't want it
Yep.
refinished and I don't want it to be damaged,
Yeah.
beyond what it already has.
Yeah, there's a massive crack in the wood. I don't know if it's compromising the whole integrity of the vase, but if you take a look at the photos that Mark shared on Discord, the crack goes from underneath the pickguard all the way to the back.
Mm.
So I think, I don't want to assume anything, but I think that that might have been something that either he dented it, he dropped it, and it may actually have cracked the whole wood because it's such a straight line. It
Mm.
goes back and forth in the same position. So I'm just like, oh my God, I really hope that this thing just doesn't break on stage. I wouldn't be surprised that um, he just keeps it at home, or even better, like maybe he donates it to the Punk Rock Museum in Vegas. That would be rad.
That'd be cool. Yeah, I feel
Yeah.
like they need a much bigger Blink display from what I've seen. Hopefully it's coming.
Right.
But the last I saw, there was just one picture of Mark like on Warp
Hmm.
Tour doing a hop. I'm like, what the hell? They need a
Doing the
whole
hop
a
is,
whole
yeah, they need,
wing.
exactly.
Good Lord. All right, we're getting to top two here. What do
Yeah.
you have number two favorite Mark bass of all time from Allan Corona?
Okay, so again, I have number two on my wall. We already discarded jazz. So which one do you think is my number two? It's in
Dude,
between thumbs or the Rams, Simple Creatures, Pink.
man, if you have two in the top five from this past year already, that's pretty crazy, dude.
Yes.
I will go. I'm just gonna go with the Simple Creatures one.
Yes, that is correct. And
Yes.
the reason I'm behind this bass, it has a different shade of pink. Not only
Mm,
has his favorite football team, and it has Simple Creatures in here, but um, Matty B, who was Mark's luthier, instead of using the same pink as the "Hi, my name is Mark" run, or as the Scully or the old Fenders, the Jazz with the Black Octopus pink, he used a different one called Shocking Pink, which is nothing close to this. It's completely different. It's I don't even know how to describe it, but I haven't gotten the paint. I'm never going to be able to match that. But if you ask David Sully, Big Oli Ape, he has one made by Matty B. It's a completely different pink than, the Fenders, than any other pink that you can find. And I just love it because it was the first Jaguar that he had made by other than Fender. He played a lot with it. And it's also my top two because it's the first one that I replicated from him, and it just holds a lot of, emotional, sentimental meaning for me.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's the first one you ever tackled?
Yeah, that's the first one that I did. That's the first one that I was, just sharing the photos throughout 2019 of the pick guard, of the body and everything. And yeah, it's one of those that the finish is not perfect, at least on mine, but it's just my base. And when I was, seeing it played on the 20th anniversary of the anime, I was just like, so beautiful.
Yeah, dude, that is such a vibrant pink. What's that pink called again?
Shocking Pink.
Okay. Yeah. It definitely I think it pops a little bit more than the Hi, My Name is Mark last one or whatever, for sure.
It definitely does. Yeah. Hot Pink versus Shocking Pink is just, let's say that the Hi, My Name is Mark has more magenta on it, so it kind of looks a little bit more reddish. And this one, if you, depending on lighting conditions and all that, it kind of looks a little bit flatter. But depending on the lights, it can look magenta, it can look red, it just looks gorgeous. I love it.
It's so fascinating to me on these guitars, like how similar some colors are, but they're a little bit off. And then as us nerds try to figure it out from photographs or at shows from far away, and people argue with you online, like, that's not Sweet Pea, you idiot. That's surf green. I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, it's just call everything pink and green and just deal with it. Good Lord.
That's it, yeah.
Okay, number two for me, I think you're familiar with this bass, Jin. I had to put it top two, man, for reasons that we already hit on earlier. Like, to me, this was a community piece. Like, there was a time during the pandemic where a lot of us Blink fans were just hanging out on Mark's Discord, streaming, getting through with Animal Crossing or just however we could through those days. And that's where, I befriended you a little bit before that, but that's where I met David Salis, who designed it. And, you guys have all gone on to be close friends of mine that I talk to pretty often. So it reminds me of, even though the worst time in the world, I also found a lot of friends online and honestly was pretty happy during that time. It felt like, as far as just, I don't know, my own mental health or whatever, which is kind of crazy when I think about it. But Jin holds a very special place in my heart because of the Easter eggs that are on there, as we've mentioned. And like you said, man, I wasn't in tears, but I had goosebumps, and I was so fucking happy for you and David when I saw Mark playing that on stage. And then when I went and saw Blink on this last tour, I mean, now that I think about it, that was the bass that Mark handed me. Like, very early when I was talking to Mark, he handed me that right away. And to me, now that I think about it, I really hadn't until now. I think he knew, how much that meant to me with the Ghost of Tsushima. And he probably knew that you and David have been on the podcast and we've talked about this stuff and how much it means to us. So for him to kind of notice that and hand that to me right away without even a word, it was just boom, take a look at this. So very special bass guitar for me, dude. Honestly, could have put it at number one, slid it in the 2 spot just for now. But I'm so stoked for both you guys on that, man. I hope we see it again this next coming tour, but we'll see.
Yeah, I'm curious to see which one is your favorite.
I don't think it'll surprise you too much, but we're almost there. So this is where I need that Travis Barker drum roll. I've been begging for 3 years now. I need Travis to record me a little sample. Number one on Allan's top 5 Mark Hoppus bass guitars all time. What's coming in at number one for you?
I don't have my replica here. I have it in the garage, and I completely messed up. I should have brought it up here. But we all know the white jazz bass with a massive black octopus sticker and the smiley inlays. That's my all-time favorite bass. I don't think any other bass is going to top that one. The paint is so perfect. It's called Mary Kay White, translucent white. A lot of people said it was Olympic. No. Olympic is the one that you have back there on the sticker strap. This one is translucent. You can see the grain of the wood. The inlays are so perfect, and yeah, he just rocked the shit out of that bass. And when I shared my stories a couple years ago, that one was my favorite bass. I had one guy, which I completely forgot his name and his Instagram, but he sent me some photos, and he's like, dude, the studio I recorded had Mark's bass for the longest time, and he was kind enough to let us use it for tracking my songs. And I was like, holy shit! And he started sharing photos, and I was like, dude, I love that bass. If I would have been in that studio, we're like, Mark, your bass somehow got misplaced, at least for a day.
Yeah, when I love that bass too, and when I think about it, I think of Neighborhoods era, and to me that was one of the introductions to the octopus. So
Yeah.
to me, that's one of the first times I remember seeing the octopus, and I'm like, man, what is this? This is rad. Because Mark was on Famous before that. I used to rock Famous forever before that, and so that's kind of where I first saw that octopus, and then he started just putting that real big sticker on his bass guitars, and I thought it was so gnarly. But what is the status of that bass now? I feel like I haven't seen it in a while. Is it still in its current form?
We don't know the whereabouts of that bass. He probably, as we know, Mark, he probably gave it away a couple years ago.
Oh
But
man.
if anyone would have known the current whereabouts, it would have been Robert. We know that Mark gave away the neon pink, also from the Neighborhood era, with the Black Octopus sticker, to Josh from A Day to Remember. So it was by the time that he was just like, oh, I can get another bass. There you go. You like it? Just take it. So it's probably out in the open,
Dang.
out in the wild. I'm gonna do the Joey move on that. If I find it, I'm just gonna hunt it down and try to get the owner to sell it to me.
Gosh, I didn't realize that one was MIA, missing.
Hmm.
Wow.
If anyone listening to the
Jeez.
pod knows the whereabouts, please reach out to us.
Who did the inlays? Was it Ron Thorne?
I'm sure it was Ron Thorne. I know that Alex Perez was working along with that, and of course Jay painted it. That one was lacquer; it was not urethane, so it was done by Jay. So
Interesting.
yeah.
Man, I always learn so much talking from you. I just love it. Okay. Final one here, folks. Number one, 182 News, preferred Mark Hoppus bass of all time. I got to go with Lettuce, man. I got to go with
Yes.
Lettuce. And here's why. You talk about some iconic tracks and some iconic albums that were recorded
Hmm.
with this. Take Off Your Pants and Jacket. Okay, my favorite all time. No surprise there. Podcast logo. That
Hmm.
enough is probably enough to just take the cake. You talk about Untitled,
Of
Plus
course.
44, supposedly parts of Neighborhoods, Dogs Eating Dogs. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. So this is a very, very important bass. I think it just looks rad. You know, it's tough to me because on
Yep.
some of the artist ones that are loaded up with rad art, I feel like a little bit more tender love and care goes into those and they look a little
Hmm.
bit more appealing. But during that time period, man, just a funky, solid color like that was all you needed. So at number one, I've got Lettuce. He has hinted that Lettuce may make a comeback on the tour this next year. So, of
Ooh.
all the ones to look forward to on this next upcoming tour, I'm hoping I get a chance to see that one in person. So, any
Yep.
thoughts on Lettuce being number one for me?
No, actually, I do love lettuce a lot, and especially when I was working on the replica, and Robert was kind enough to send me all the photos and all the
Mm,
details. That base is not as beaten up as Scully in regards of the cracks and everything, but it has also seen some mileage, and it was hard for me to replicate those specific nicks and dents because I mean, it has seen so many things, and even the pick guard was all bent, and it was just so used. And
mm,
one of the things that really caught me was that the color is not actually surf green. And even though Robert reached out a Fender, and they told him, he sent me a screenshot from the costume shop. They were like, you can tell them to use either surf green or seafoam green, and I was like, no,
mm.
seafoam is bluish, surf green is lighter. And even when Mark sent me the photo with both of them paired up, the one that I made, it looked like a fresher, brand new surf green, which is a little bit lighter.
Mm.
And then I ended up just doing my research, and I think it's on the Getty Lee Book of Bass that I got as a birthday present for my wife. They started talking about the differences between the surf green throughout the ages. So in the
Mm.
70s, it was a more vibrant green versus the current surf green, which is a lighter, more like a mint pistachio, if you will.
Mm.
But the bottom line is that Lettuce was a custom color, just like Scully was a custom color. Never replicated, never done another instrument with that color. So we are apt. We cannot get exactly the same color unless we go there, take a little bit of piece of the paint, and have it color match. But yeah, it's a custom color.
Well, and that's not even taking into account, 20 years of being played live and sun damage or whatever.
Exactly.
Like, it's funny to me how some of us try to get so deep into the details, and when we get in touch with the people or whatever, they're like, just guess. Who cares, you nerds? It's just it's whatever was laying in the shop that day, you stupid nerds.
They don't give the same importance to those details as we do. I think the only way that we'll be able to find out the exact color is whenever we have it in our hands, because we will at some point. And remove the pick guard, because that's always a spot that never gets hit by sunlight. And yeah, I think that's going to be a very interesting reveal when it happens.
Yeah, dude, I forgot you remade that. It was auctioned off for charity. Like,
yeah,
that was awesome. Did the winner of that reach out to you at all?
Yeah, in fact, I have a couple photos which I'll text you so you can also add it in the podcast. But he's really happy with it. He asked Mark to sign on the horn instead of the pick guard. But he plays it. He doesn't play it live or anything, but he has it at his home studio. And I'm just so stoked that he was kind enough to bid what he bid for the bass, and that he, cherishes it and he plays it eventually. Yeah, I'm just so stoked that we were able to help CHLA.
Dang. Yeah, that's awesome. Well, Allan, dude, thanks so much for your time, man. Really enjoyed this.
Of course, man.
Before I let you go, what's your next project? You got anything you can announce you're working on?
I got a bunch of stuff working on. I still gotta finish my my Crayola bass, which is gonna take me at least another 5 months. I can't guarantee it's gonna happen this year, but I'm currently working on basses for famous people. I'm not gonna spoil it, but all I can say that if you follow Newfound Glory, you gotta keep an eye on what Ian's gonna share sometime soon. If you follow Strong Out, make sure that you follow Chris Aiken, so you can see what I'm building for Chris Aiken as well. And I don't know, maybe Mark Hoppus. I don't know. Does that guy even deserve it? Does he deserve it? But
who knows? Who knows? All right,
exactly.
Dude. I'll let you get out of here. Thanks so much, Allan. Rad catching up with you.
Likewise, man.